The stars looked different from the observation deck of the Stellar Horizon, humanity's first deep space research vessel. Captain Sarah Chen stood motionless, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she watched the unfamiliar constellations drift by. 20 years of space exploration hadn't prepared humanity for what they discovered in the Arcturus sector, the void zones. The ship's warning systems blared to life, bathing the deck in crimson light. "Captain, we're detecting unusual energy signatures," Lieutenant Rodriguez called from his station. "Similar to the anomalies we encountered in the Proxima system." Sarah's jaw tightened. The Proxima incident had cost them 3 good crew members, their bodies simply vanishing as if they'd never existed. The scientific community still couldn't explain it. "Full stop," she ordered. "Deploy the sensor buoys." But before Rodriguez could comply, space itself seemed to ripple. A massive vessel materialized before them, its hull gleaming with patterns that seemed to defy physics. It was easily 20 times the size of the Stellar Horizon, and its design spoke of technology centuries beyond human understanding. "First contact," Sarah whispered, her heart pounding. This wasn't how they'd planned it. They were supposed to find microbial life first, maybe ruins of ancient civilizations. Not this. Not an advanced species catching them like children sneaking into the adult's room. The alien vessel's communication system interfaced with theirs effortlessly, and a holographic figure materialized on their bridge. The being stood nearly 3 meters tall, its crystalline body refracting light in mesmerizing patterns. When it spoke, its words translated directly into their minds. Humans, the being's thoughts resonated with a mixture of surprise and concern. "You should not be here. This sector contains active void zones. Your species is not registered with the Galactic Confederation for void transit." Sarah stepped forward, drawing on 2 decades of diplomatic training. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Stellar Horizon. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration. We were unaware of any registration requirements." The crystalline being's light patterns shifted to deeper blues. "I am Arxos, Sentinel of the Outer Rim. Your presence here is most unusual. You traveled through 3 void zones to reach this position. By all known laws of space-time, your vessel and crew should have been completely atomized." The bridge crew exchanged glances. They had encountered strange phenomena, yes, but nothing that their shields couldn't handle. Sarah's mind raced. What exactly were these void zones, and why did this advanced being seem so disturbed by their survival? "Perhaps," Sarah offered carefully, "we could share information. Learn from each other. If we've unknowingly crossed into restricted space, we apologize, but this could be an opportunity for both our species." Arxos's crystalline form pulsed with rapid colors. "You do not understand. The void zones are tears in reality itself, created eons ago during the War of Shattered Stars. No organic life can survive transit through them. Unless..." The being's thoughts trailed off, and its colors shifted to a deep purple. "Unless what?" Sarah pressed, feeling the weight of history shifting around them. "Unless your species possesses the legacy gene. But that's impossible. The predecessors were said to have eliminated all carriers before they vanished." Arxos moved closer, its crystalline form humming with energy. "We must verify this immediately. The implications, the council must be informed." Before Sarah could respond, her science officer, Dr. Wei, called out from his station. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy buildups from the alien vessel. They're scanning us, at the molecular level." The scan felt like static electricity crawling across their skin. When it finished, Arxos's form flickered with what Sarah could only interpret as agitation. "Impossible," its thoughts thundered in their minds. "Your entire species, you all carry it. The void touch. The ability to exist in spaces where reality itself breaks down." Sarah straightened her uniform, trying to project calm authority despite the tremor in her hands. "I'm not sure I understand the significance of this discovery, Sentinel Arxos, but if it means we've violated some law." "Laws?" Arxos's form shimmered with what might have been laughter. "Captain Chin, you don't understand. Your species hasn't violated laws. You've rewritten what we thought was possible. The void zones have been impassable barriers between sectors of our galaxy for millennia. Entire civilizations have risen and fallen trying to cross them. And here you are, a species barely out of its solar system, crossing them as if they were nothing more than space dust. The implications began to sink in. Humanity's first contact wouldn't just be a cultural exchange. They had accidentally demonstrated an ability that made them uniquely valuable to an entire galactic civilization. Sarah could already see the political complications unfolding. "What happens now?" she asked, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. Arxos's colors settled into a more formal pattern. "Now, Captain Chin, you and your crew will need to come with me to the Galactic Council. Your discovery must be properly documented and—" The being hesitated. "Preparations must be made." "Preparations? For what?" "For the change your species will bring to the galaxy. The void zones have kept civilizations isolated, forced trade routes into predictable patterns, and maintained a certain balance of power, with humans able to traverse them freely." Arxos's form flickered. "Everything will change." Sarah looked back at her crew, seeing the mixture of fear and excitement on their faces. This wasn't just first contact. This was humanity's introduction to a galaxy that would never be the same after meeting them. Whether that change would be for better or worse remained to be seen. "Very well," she said, turning back to Arxos. "We'll accompany you to the council. But I want your guarantee that my crew will be safe and that Earth will be protected during these preparations you mentioned." Arxos's form pulsed with what might have been respect. "You have my word, Captain Chen. Though I suspect your species needs far less protection than you imagine. After all, you've survived what we thought was unsurvivable. The Void Touch is just the beginning of what we might learn from humanity." As the stellar horizon prepared to follow Arxos's vessel, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that humanity had just stepped onto a much larger stage than they'd ever imagined. They had wanted to find intelligent life in the cosmos, but instead, they had found something far more significant. They had found their place in it. The void zones continued to shimmer in the distance, their mysterious energies now holding new meaning. Humanity hadn't just made first contact. They had revealed themselves to be something unique in the galaxy. And as Sarah Chun prepared to lead her crew into this new chapter of human history, she wondered what other surprises her species might hold, waiting to be discovered among the stars. 6 months after humanity's first contact, the Galactic Council's primary trading hub buzzed with unprecedented activity. Commander Maya Patel stood at the helm of the Pathfinder, Earth's first dedicated void-running vessel, watching as alien ships of all sizes and designs maneuvered through the sprawling space station's docking arrays. Another contract bid, Commander, her communications officer announced. The Centaurian Merchant Guild is offering triple the standard rate for a void zone crossing to the Andromeda Arm. Maya smiled, though her eyes remained fixed on the swirling purple-black anomaly visible in the distance. "Tell them to get in line. We're booked solid for the next 3 months." In the half-year since Captain Chen's historic meeting with the Council, humanity had transformed from an unknown species to the most sought-after partners in the galaxy. The void zones, those mysterious tears in space-time that had divided galactic civilization for millennia, were now highways for those brave enough, or human enough, to use them. Multiple ships dropping out of FDL, her sensor officer called out, reading energy signatures consistent with the Morgothi defense fleet. Maya's expression hardened. The Morgothi, a species of silicon-based beings, had been among the most vocal opponents of human integration into galactic society. They claimed humanity's ability to traverse the void zones would destabilize thousands of years of carefully maintained power structures. They weren't wrong. The Pathfinder's comm system crackled. "Human vessel," a gravelly voice transmitted. "This is Executor Krall of the Morgothi Defense Fleet. Your presence in this sector violates the new species integration protocol. Stand down and prepare for escort back to your designated space." Maya fought back a laugh. The Morgothi were trying to use outdated regulations to restrict human movement, regulations that had been officially superseded by the Emergency Void Transit Act just 2 months ago. She opened a channel. "Executor Krall, this is Commander Patel of the Earth vessel Pathfinder. We're operating under full Council authority, conducting authorized void zone transit operations. I'd be happy to transmit our credentials." Your credentials are irrelevant, Kral snapped. The void zones are not meant to be traversed. You humans disrupt the natural order with your aberration. Before Maya could respond, another voice cut through the channel, the distinctive harmonic tones of Elisathian, one of the oldest species in the Confederation. Executor Kral, stand down immediately. The Pathfinder is operating under direct protection of the Lysithian Conclave. The space around them seemed to shimmer as a massive Lysithian vessel decloaked between the Pathfinder and the Morgothi fleet. Its organic-looking hull pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, a display of power that made even the Morgothi pause. Ambassador Vol, Maya greeted warmly. The Lysithian had been one of humanity's earliest supporters in the Council. Your timing is impeccable as always. Commander Patel, Vol's harmonics carried a note of amusement. The Morgothi seemed to have forgotten that the Council's decision was unanimous, save for their own objection. Humanity's void-running capabilities are now a protected resource under galactic law. The Morgothi ships held position for a long moment before Kral's voice returned, tight with suppressed rage. This isn't over. The natural order will be restored. Their ships turned and disappeared back into FTL, leaving behind only the echo of their threat. Vol's ship moved closer to the Pathfinder. You should be more careful, Commander. Not everyone celebrates humanity's rise as we do. There are elements in the galaxy that would prefer the void zones remain impassable. Maya nodded, though her attention had already turned back to the swirling void zone ahead. We understand the risks, Ambassador. But we can't deny what we can do. The void zones call to us now. It's like they were waiting for us all along. An interesting theory, Vol mused. Our scientists still cannot explain your species' unique ability. The void touch, as some call it, defies our understanding of biology and physics alike. Maya remembered her first void zone crossing, the strange sense of rightness she'd felt as reality distorted around their ship. While other species saw only chaos and destruction in the void zones, humans saw patterns, paths, possibilities. We have a saying on Earth, Maya said, running final checks for their upcoming crossing. Sometimes the biggest discoveries come from those too inexperienced to know what's impossible. Vol's ship began to move away. A wise perspective. Safe crossing, Commander. The medical supply shipment you're carrying is urgently needed in the Andromeda Arm. Lives depend on your unique ability to make this journey. As the Lysithian vessel cloaked again, Maya turned to her crew. They were young, all of them, part of the first wave of trained void runners. In their eyes, she saw the same excitement she felt every time they approached a crossing, not fear of the impossible, but anticipation of achieving it. Void zone approach protocols, she ordered. Let's show the galaxy what humans do best. The Pathfinder's engines hummed to life, its human-modified systems specially tuned to void zone frequencies. As they approached the swirling anomaly, Maya felt the familiar tingle in her mind, the strange connection that all humans seem to share with these tiers in space-time. The void zone loomed before them, its purple-black energies dancing across their view screen. To any other species, it was a barrier, a wall between stars that could never be breached. But to humans, it was a door, waiting to be opened. Void runners, Maya announced, pride evident in her voice. Take us in. The Pathfinder plunged into the void zone, reality warping around them in beautiful, impossible ways. And as they navigated the chaos that no other species could survive, Maya knew that humanity had found not just its place in the galaxy, but its purpose. They were the void runners now, bridge builders between isolated corners of space. And though some might fear or resist this change, the galaxy would never be the same. The void zone pulsed differently this time. Commander Maya Patel felt it immediately as the Pathfinder emerged into normal space. Something was wrong. The usual patterns were distorted, like a song played in the wrong key. Status report, she called out, her eyes fixed on the swirling energies behind them. All systems nominal, her engineer responded. But Commander, the void resonance readings are off the charts. I've never seen anything like this. Before Maya could respond, a priority transmission cut through their communications. Ambassador Val's harmonic tones carried an edge of panic she'd never heard before. Commander Patel, your vessel must divert immediately to the Galactic Council. We've lost contact with 3 Void Runner ships in the past hour. Maya's blood ran cold. Lost contact? That was impossible. Void Runners could always find their way back. It was part of what made humans unique. They didn't just survive the void zones, they understood them. What's our last known position? She asked, already plotting the fastest route to the council. That's the concerning part, Val replied. All 3 ships disappeared from the same coordinates within the Carina Void Cluster. The council is convening an emergency session. Your expertise is required. The Pathfinder's engines roared to life, pushing them toward the nearest council-approved void crossing. As they traveled, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that the void zones themselves were trying to tell them something. The usual background resonance that all humans could feel had taken on a different tone, almost like a warning. Hours later, Maya stood before the Galactic Council, her Void Runner uniform stark against the ornate chamber. Representatives from hundreds of species filled the tiered seats, their anxious murmurs creating a symphony of alien sounds. High Counselor Arxos, the same crystalline being who had first contacted humanity, called the session to order. We face an unprecedented crisis, their thoughts echoed through the chamber. Something is emerging from the void zones, something that should not exist. The central hologram activated, showing footage from the last transmission of one of the missing Void Runner ships. The image showed a massive shape moving through the purple-black energy, like a shark's shadow beneath dark water. But what caught Maya's attention was the way the Void Zone itself seemed to recoil from the entity's presence. By the stars, someone whispered. It's them. They've returned. Arxos's crystalline form pulsed with grave colors. For millennia, we believed the void zones were natural phenomena, tears in space-time left by ancient wars. We were wrong. They were barriers, created by the predecessors to contain something they could not destroy. The chamber erupted in chaos as species recognized the implications. Maya stepped forward, her voice cutting through the panic. What exactly are we dealing with? A new figure emerged from the shadows, a Morgothi, but unlike any Maya had seen before. Ancient and scarred, its silicon form bearing marks of battles fought long ago. They are the Void-born, the Morgothi Elder Rest. The reason my people opposed human void running. We remembered the old warnings, even if others forgot. The Void-born were the first attempt at artificial life, Arxos continued. Created billions of years ago by a species whose name is lost to time. But they evolved beyond their creator's control, learning to feed on reality itself. The predecessors sacrificed themselves to create the void zones, trapping the Void-born in pockets of distorted space-time. Maya's mind raced. And now they're free? Because we've been crossing the void zones? No, the Morgothi Elder corrected. They're free because they've been studying you. Human void runners showed them new ways to interpret the barriers. They learned from watching you. The implications hit Maya like a physical blow. Every void zone crossing, every successful navigation through what should have been impossible, they had been teaching their enemy how to escape. How do we stop them? She demanded. Arxos's form dimmed. We don't know. The predecessors' weapons are lost to time, and conventional weapons are useless against beings that can manipulate space-time itself. But Maya wasn't listening anymore. Something about the void zone readings from earlier nagged at her consciousness. The distorted patterns, the wrong key resonance. They're not manipulating space-time, she murmured, then louder. They're corrupting it. All eyes turned to her as she rushed to the central hologram, pulling up the readings from the Pathfinder. Look at these patterns. The void zones aren't just barriers, they're perfect expressions of space-time mathematics. The Void-born aren't breaking through them, they're introducing errors into the equation. The Morgothi Elder moved closer, its crystalline eyes studying the data. And how does this help us, human? Maya's fingers flew over the controls, highlighting specific patterns. Because if they're introducing errors, we can introduce corrections. Humans don't just survive in void zones, we understand them instinctively. What if that's not a coincidence? What if we're not just surviving the predecessors' barriers? What if we're meant to maintain them? The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Arxos's form brightened with sudden understanding. The legacy gene, it's not just about survival. The predecessors didn't eliminate all the carriers before they vanished. They seeded your world with them. They created humanity as inheritors of their work. Which means, Maya concluded, a plan already forming in her mind, we might be the only species capable of stopping the Voidborn. But we'll need help from everyone. Even you, Morgothi. The ancient Morgothi studied her for a long moment before nodding slowly. Perhaps we were wrong to fear humanity's rise. If you are truly the predecessor's chosen guardians, we'll need every Void Runner, Maya continued, her voice gaining strength. Every ship, every human who can feel the Void Zone patterns. We're not just crossing these barriers anymore, we're going to repair them. As the council erupted into action, Maya stared at the hologram of the Voidborn's shadow. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, but now they had found their purpose. They weren't just Void Runners anymore. They were Void Guardians, chosen by an ancient species to protect reality itself. The Void Zones pulsed in the distance, their song changing once again. But this time, Maya understood what they were saying. They weren't warnings anymore. They were calling for help. And humanity would answer. The combined fleet of Earth's Void Runners dropped out of FTL travel in perfect formation, 300 ships strong, each crewed by humans who could feel the Void Zones singing in their bones. From the bridge of the Pathfinder, Commander Maya Patel watched the swirling malevolence ahead of them, a Void Zone corrupted by the Voidborn's presence. All ships reporting ready, her communications officer announced. The Morgothi defense grid is in position, and the Lysithian bioships have completed their quantum web. Maya took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. The last week had been a blur of preparation, gathering every Void Runner in human space for this desperate gambit. They had one chance to prove their theory, that humans could not just traverse the Void Zones, but heal them. This is Commander Patel to all Void Runner ships, she broadcast. What we're about to attempt has never been done before. The Voidborn have corrupted this section of space-time, but together, we're going to restore it. Remember your training. Feel the patterns. Trust your instincts. The fleet moved forward as one, approaching the writhing tear in reality. Through the view screen, Maya could see the shadow of something massive moving within, a Voidborn, ancient and hungry, waiting to break free into normal space. Multiple quantum distortions detected, her science officer called out. The Voidborn, it's aware of us. The corrupted Void Zone suddenly pulsed with sickly light, and Maya felt it, an alien consciousness pressing against her mind, ancient and cold. Around the fleet, space itself began to distort. It's attacking, someone shouted. Several ships reported their crews experiencing severe headaches, nausea, disorientation. But Maya noticed something else. While the alien psychic assault was affecting everyone, humans were adapting to it. The same intuition that let them navigate Void Zones was protecting them, translating the attack into something they could understand. Hold position, she ordered, fighting through her own discomfort. The Voidborn, it's not just attacking us. It's trying to communicate. The alien presence in her mind shifted, surprised. Images flooded her consciousness, endless darkness, imprisonment, hunger. The Voidborn were sharing their story, expecting the humans to be driven mad by the knowledge like so many species before. Instead, Maya understood. All ships, prepare for synchronized void touch, she commanded. But not to attack. We're going to show them who we are. 300 human crews reached out with their void-touched minds, not to fight the ancient beings, but to share their own story, Earth's oceans and forests, the joy of discovery, the wonder of the cosmos, the beauty of connection between different species. The Voidborn's psychic assault faltered, its ancient consciousness recoiling not in fear, but in confusion. For the first time in billions of years, it encountered something it couldn't corrupt, minds that could touch the void without being consumed by it. Now, Maya ordered, begin the restoration sequence. The human fleet moved in perfect synchronization, their ships tracing complex patterns through space. Each crew focused on the mathematics of reality they could somehow see in the void zones, working to correct the corruption the Void-born had introduced. The void zone's purple-black energy began to shift, patterns of order emerging from chaos. The Morgothi defense grid activated, their crystalline technology amplifying the humans' efforts. Lysithian bioships pulsed with energy, their quantum web helping to stabilize the changes. But the Void-born fought back. Reality buckled and twisted around them as the ancient being refused to be contained again. Ships were thrown about like leaves in a hurricane as space-time itself became a battlefield. "We're losing containment on the starboard side," Maya's engineer reported. "The pattern is breaking down." Maya gripped her command chair, blood trickling from her nose as she strained to maintain the connection. "All ships, focus your void touch. Remember what the predecessors built into us. We're not just surviving the void zones, we're meant to master them." Throughout the fleet, human crews pushed their unique abilities to the limit. The void touch that had seemed like a quirk of evolution revealed itself as something more, a tool crafted by an ancient species, passed down through generations, waiting for this moment. The Void-born's presence in their minds changed from rage to something else, recognition. It sensed the echo of its own creators in human DNA, the carefully crafted sequences that made them what they were. Suddenly, Maya understood. "We're not here to destroy you," she projected the thought toward the ancient being. "We're here to fix what went wrong. The predecessors, they didn't just want to trap you. They wanted to give you a chance to evolve beyond the hunger. That's why they created us." The void zone flared with blinding light as the Void-born processed this revelation. The corrupted patterns began to stabilize, not through force, but through transformation. The ancient being wasn't being imprisoned again, it was learning to exist in harmony with the barriers that defined reality. As the light faded, the void zone pulsed with healthy energy once more. But something was different. The patterns were richer, more complex, incorporating aspects of both order and chaos in a sustainable balance. "All ships report in," Maya ordered, wiping blood from her face. "What's our status?" "The void zone has been stabilized," her science officer reported in awe. "But Commander, the readings. I've never seen anything like this. It's not just restored, it's evolved." Maya smiled, feeling the renewed patterns singing through her consciousness. They had done more than contain a threat, they had fulfilled the predecessor's true mission. The void zones weren't meant to be eternal prisons, but crucibles of transformation. "Send word to the council," she commanded. Tell them we know our purpose now. And we're just getting started." The fleet regrouped, their crews exhausted but triumphant. They had faced the greatest threat to galactic civilization and found not just victory, but understanding. The Void Runners had become something more, bridges between past and future, healers of reality itself. As they prepared to return to Council space, Maya felt the void zones calling to them with a new song. The galaxy was changing, and humanity would lead the way into an age where ancient enemies could become allies, and the barriers between species could finally begin to fall. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so crowded. Species that once kept vast distances between themselves now stood shoulder to shoulder, united by necessity and wonder. At the center of it all, Commander Maya Patel and Captain Sarah Chin stood before the assembled representatives, their Void Runner uniforms bearing new insignias, the mark of the Void Guardians. The transformation of the Carina Void Zone was just the beginning, Sarah explained, her voice carrying the authority of Earth's first contact pioneer. "We've confirmed similar successes in 12 other sectors. The Void-born aren't just being contained, they're evolving." The holographic display showed the transformed void zones, their energies now flowing in complex, beautiful patterns that combined order and chaos in perfect harmony. But not everyone was celebrating. Evolution. A Morgothi representative's crystalline form flickered with skepticism. These entities nearly destroyed reality itself. "Now you expect us to trust them?" Maya stepped forward. "Trust isn't given, it's earned. Just like you're learning to trust humans, despite your initial fears." She gestured to the display. The Void-born were created as weapons, but they've been imprisoned for billions of years. Given a choice, they're choosing to change. Ambassador Val's harmonic tones added support. The evidence is undeniable. Void Runner ships are now passing through the transformed zones without any barrier effect. Trade routes that were impossible for millennia are opening up. The galaxy itself is being rewritten. And that's precisely the problem. The Morgothi representative wasn't alone in their concern. Other species murmured in agreement. Too much change, too quickly. The old barriers maintained order. They maintained isolation, Sarah interrupted firmly. They kept species apart, forced us all to develop in separate bubbles. But look around this chamber. Look how many of you are standing together now, working together, because humanity showed you it was possible. The chamber fell silent as her words sank in. Maya used the moment to activate a new holographic display, a map of the galaxy showing the spreading network of transformed void zones, glowing with new energy. We're not just void runners anymore, she announced. We're not even just guardians. We're bridge builders. The predecessors didn't create us to maintain eternal barriers. They created us to help the galaxy evolve beyond the need for them. High Counselor Arxos's crystalline form pulsed with bright colors. The human solution, as we're calling it, isn't just about the void zones. It's about transformation. Species that have been separated for millennia are learning to communicate, to trade, to share knowledge. And the Voidborn? Someone called out. What of them? Maya smiled. Why don't you ask them yourself? She nodded to her communications officer. The chamber's center space shimmed as a new form materialized, not through technology, but through a controlled distortion of reality itself. The Voidborn's presence was different now, no longer a shadow of hunger and rage, but a shimmering pattern of conscious energy. Many representatives stepped back in fear, but Maya stood her ground. The being's thoughts touched their minds, no longer an assault, but a gentle communion. We remember creation, the Voidborn communicated. We remember purpose twisted to destruction. We remember imprisonment. But through human understanding, we remember choice. We choose new purpose. The chamber erupted in astonished murmurs as the being demonstrated its transformation. Reality rippled around it, but instead of corruption, it created harmony. The same powers that had once torn space apart now helped stabilize it. This is what humanity brought to the galaxy, Sarah declared. Not just the ability to survive in void zones, but the vision to see beyond ancient fears and limitations. Every species in this chamber has the potential to evolve, to become more than what they were created to be. Maya took over, her voice strong with conviction. The human solution isn't about humans taking control. It's about showing the galaxy that barriers can become bridges. That ancient enemies can become allies. That evolution doesn't stop with creation. The Morgothi representative's crystalline form had softened, its patterns showing thoughtful consideration rather than fear. And what if species that resist this? Evolution. Then we do what humans have always done, Maya replied. We keep trying. We keep reaching out. We keep believing in the possibility of change. Because that's what the predecessors built into us, not just the power to survive chaos, but the determination to transform it into something better. Around the chamber, representatives began to nod. The fear that had gripped the galaxy since the Voidborn's emergence was giving way to something else, hope. Species that had been separated by void zones for millennia were making plans to meet, to trade, to learn from each other. The Voidborn's presence rippled with approval before fading away, leaving behind a subtle change in reality itself. The barriers between species, both physical and psychological, were dissolving. The galaxy was entering a new age, guided by humanity's unique gift for turning the impossible into the achievable. As the council session ended, Maya and Sarah stood at the chamber's great window, watching ships of all species navigating the transformed void zones with growing confidence. Did you ever imagine this? Sarah asked softly. When you made first contact? Maya shook her head, smiling. I don't think anyone could have imagined this. But that's humanity's real gift to the galaxy, isn't it? We don't just imagine the impossible, we make it real. The void zones pulsed with new life, their patterns a testament to the power of transformation. Humanity had found more than their place in the galaxy. They had helped the galaxy itself evolve. And this was just the beginning. 5 years after the first void zone transformation, the galaxy was unrecognizable. The great void barriers that had divided civilizations for millennia now pulsed with harmonious energy, serving as highways rather than walls. At the newly constructed Nexus Station, built at the intersection of three major void zones, Commander Maya Patel watched a void-born entity guide a mixed species trading fleet through the transformed space. Still hard to believe, isn't it? Captain Sarah Chin, now Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, stepped up beside her. Remember when we thought first contact would be finding bacteria on Mars? Maya chuckled, but her eyes remained fixed on the spectacular view. Nexus Station had become a symbol of everything humanity had helped achieve, a place where previously isolated species came together, where ancient enemies learned to cooperate, and where the Void-born themselves helped maintain the very fabric of space-time they had once threatened to destroy. Ambassador Chin, a familiar crystalline voice called out. They turned to see Arxos approaching, their form now incorporating swirls of void energy, a sign of the changes affecting all species. The Legacy Conference is ready to begin. The Legacy Conference Chamber was a marvel of collaborative engineering. Morgothi crystal technology merged with Lysithian bioarchitecture, all of it powered by stabilized void energy. Representatives from over 1,000 species filled the tiered seats, while several void-born entities hovered in specially designed observation spaces. 5 years ago, Sarah began her address. Humanity was unknown to the galaxy. We were alone, looking up at the stars, wondering if we'd ever find our place among them. Now, we stand here not as newcomers, but as catalysts of the greatest transformation our galaxy has ever seen. The chamber's holographic systems activated, displaying a three-dimensional map of the transformed galaxy. The old void zones, once barriers of purple-black energy, now shimmered with complex patterns of light, living bridges between civilizations. But this transformation isn't just about void zones or trade routes, Maya took over. It's about evolution, not just of species, but of understanding. The predecessors didn't create humanity to be guardians of eternal barriers. They created us to show the galaxy a new way forward. The ancient Morgothi elder who had first warned them about the Void-born stepped forward, their crystalline form now embedded with streams of living void energy. We feared change, they admitted. We feared humans because you represented everything we had fought against for millennia. But you showed us that evolution isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. A void-born entity manifested in the center of the chamber, its presence no longer inspiring terror but wonder. Through human understanding, we remember choice, it communicated to all present. Through human courage, we find new purpose. Through human evolution, we all evolve. The entity demonstrated this evolution by creating a miniature representation of Earth in pure void energy, not as a display of power, but as an artwork of appreciation. The detailed model showed not just the planet's physical features, but the unique energy patterns of human life that had changed the galaxy. The Legacy Conference, Sarah continued, isn't about celebrating what we've achieved. It's about planning what comes next. The predecessors left us more than just the void touch. They left us the responsibility to guide the galaxy's evolution. Not as rulers, but as catalysts. Maya activated another holographic display, showing the preliminary designs for new void gates, massive structures that would allow even non-void touch species to navigate the transformed zones safely. These gates will be our gift to the galaxy, she explained. Built by human void runners, powered by void-born energy, maintained by all species working together. But more importantly, Sarah added, they represent our commitment to continuing evolution. Each gate will be a center of learning, where species can share knowledge, where the Void-born can teach us about the deeper nature of reality, where barriers between civilizations can continue to fall. The chamber erupted in approval, thousands of species expressing support in their unique ways. The Lysithians sang in harmonic tones, the Morgothi pulsed with crystalline light, and the Void-born created beautiful patterns in the air. But it was the next announcement that would truly shape the galaxy's future. Today, Maya declared, we're announcing the formation of the Evolution Initiative, a joint program where Void Runners will train representatives from all species in the art of transformation. The void touch may be unique to humans, but the ability to evolve, to transform, to become more than what we were created to be, that belongs to everyone. The chamber's energy shifted as the implications sank in. This wasn't just about maintaining what had been achieved, it was about pushing forward into new frontiers of possibility. The predecessors created humanity to be bridge builders, Sarah concluded. But what we've learned is that every species has the potential to build bridges. Every civilization has the power to evolve. And together, we're not just changing the galaxy, we're changing what's possible. As the Legacy Conference continued into the night, Maya stood at the observation deck once more. The void zones pulsed with healthy energy, ships of all species navigated their transformed paths, and void-born entities danced through space, helping maintain the harmony they had once sought to destroy. You know what the best part is? Sarah joined her, smiling. We're just getting started. Maya nodded, watching a group of young void runners leading a training session for alien species eager to learn about transformation. The galaxy feared us because we could survive the impossible, she said. But they follow us because we showed them how to transform it. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the changes in the very fabric of space-time. Humanity had found more than their place in the galaxy. They had helped the galaxy itself evolve. And as new void gates were built, as more species learned the art of transformation, as ancient barriers continued to fall, one thing became clear. The galaxy's greatest fear had become its greatest hope. Humanity's fearlessness in the face of the impossible hadn't just changed their own destiny, it had changed everyone's. The legacy of the fearless would echo through the cosmos forever, carried on the whispers of transformed void zones and in the hearts of countless species who had learned to see beyond their own limitations. The story of humanity's rise wasn't ending, it was evolving into something even greater. And the stars themselves seemed to whisper, "This is just the beginning."